Everybody, welcome Ven Vamos Podcast. I have Marc Anthony. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but when I read it, I want to say Sabaje. I want to say Sabaje. But how do you say it properly?
It's Salvat.
But you're super Cuban, but that doesn't sound Cuban to me.
It's not a Cuban last name. It's actually it's a Spanish last name.
Yeah.
El apellido ese es un apellido catalán de España, and the last name is pronounced Salvat.
That's why you have like this conquistador aura with you, like, and how you look and your demeanor and how you carry yourself.
You think so, conquistador?
I know so. Oh yeah. Like I imagine you like in one of those like, I don't want to say Roman because obviously Spanish, but you know those like history book paintings of the guys that are like on the horses coming to the new lands. Like it's giving conquistador.
I would say to that, you know, like prior to having this conversation, you and I talked, and you said, you know, how are we gonna do this? And I said, brother, the best or nothing. Mm-hmm. The best or nothing, and that's something that I genuinely carry with me throughout all life's endeavors. Is if I come on here, I'm gonna give you the very best of myself.
Oh yeah.
If not, I'm not gonna come. And I treat everything that way in my life, in business, in relationships, in finance, whatever the case may be, the best or nothing.
So that mindset, where did it come from? You know, you weren't born thinking that.
Okay.
So how did that come to be?
Brother, I think it has to do with a lot of life's tribulations, right? And understanding that in life, you are, as a man, right? I speak as a man because I am a man. I cannot speak to women, right? But as a man, I think that you have to inevitably develop that way of thinking if you want to be massively successful. Why? Because if you don't, you will always take on the victim role and the victim mentality, and what that does. Why what?
Yeah, like why me?
Yeah, and that is a plagued way of thinking. If you think like that, what you truly are doing is you're holding yourself back from becoming the person that God truly created you to be. Someone that really, you know, comes from a place of service, someone that leads, protects, and provides. I believe that those are the three undeniable pillars and qualities that a man needs in order to be a complete man.
And how much of your family would you say played a role in defining that?
Brother, so my family means everything. My family means everything to me. I was raised by my grandparents from when I was 3 months old till I was 8. And they instilled things in me that we no longer see in today's generation.
No, definitely not.
Things like morals, integrity, respect, honesty, and love. Doing things out of love. Doing things from a place of love, right? Because I'm a genuine believer that there are only two main emotions in the world. There's love and there's fear. There's love and there's fear. If you operate out of love, right? The word says it. Fear not, for I am with you, right? If you fear, then you have to understand that that is not of God. However, if you face whatever it is that you're facing with the understanding that the God inside of you is more capable than the mountain standing in front of you, then the world opens up.
So apart from real estate, when are you going to become like a pastor, motivational speaker? Because I'm here like I got a little bit of goosebumps. I'm like, oh shit, I got to try harder. Like I got to.
Brother, so what I would say to that is I'm extremely passionate about what I do.
I see it. And
I love what I do. I am also wise enough to understand that this section of my life, this chapter of my life, if you will, of real estate, maybe isn't the end all be all. I like to look at it as a stepping stone in order to acquire the necessary capital to implement that capital into the world to change the way that humanity operates.
Yeah, I can relate to that because I make this joke to people when somebody asks me, like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I knock doors for a living. And then they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh no, like I go around and I talk to people about my clients and I do it all over the country. And then I tell them, but you know, I didn't wake up one day and I was like, I want to knock doors for the rest of my life. Yeah. So it's a means to an end, and maybe I haven't discovered what that end is, but I know que va a llegar a un lugar. It's gonna progress somewhere.
Of course. And what I say to the younger generation is to be graceful. Be graceful with yourself, because at 25, 23, 27, 29, 30, whatever the case may be, you're still very young, and you can't expect to have all of life figured out. With the technological advances that are consistently happening throughout the world, it is impossible to know exactly what it is that you're going to do for the remainder of your life. Unless you're in a 9 to 5 and you're stuck in the rat race, and then you say to yourself, hey, this is all I can amount to. This is it. And then you go back to that victim mentality, and you don't really impose yourself into the world.
So when did you read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Because you quoted it with rat race, and I picked that up. I was like, rat race.
That was a good catch.
I picked it up right away. I was like,
that was a good catch. So interestingly enough, that book was gifted to me by an older brother of mine. He's been a great inspiration and someone that has truly helped shape my thinking in reference to business. He gifted me that book when I was 13, and I didn't read it until I was like 22.
No.
22. Yeah, but I read that book, and that book is a game changer. That book is a game changer, and the premise of the book is understanding the difference between an asset and a liability. And we'll take it a step further. The very big difference between those that are rich and those that are poor is that those that are poor used to earn income to buy liabilities, while those that are rich used earn income to buy assets that later pay for those liabilities.
And do you think that reading that book factored into why you got into real estate and developing and investing?
So I wouldn't necessarily equate it to that. I would equate it more to a little bit of the history prior to real estate. I've always been in sales.
Okay.
I've always been in sales. And I am of the school of thought that you either have it or you don't, right? Donald Trump talks about the killer instinct, right? You either have that killer instinct or you don't. And can you sharpen from good to great? Yes.
For sure.
But can you sharpen from not having it to good? It's very unlikely.
Unless you... I don't know if you watch Naruto. Do you watch anime?
I do not.
Okay. So we're not even gonna go there. But it's like boxing. It's like sports. You have to really train that reflex, you know. And what I was trying to get with that is that I do agree with you that if you don't have it, it's very hard to get it. But I do feel like you can work your way there, but you gotta want to work it. And I just feel like most people don't want to.
Of course. So most people don't want to. To your point, is it possible? Yes. However, to that yes, you can read all of the books, you can take all of the classes, you can spend all of the money on self-development. You will never outdo somebody that was naturally born with that gift that also sharpens that sword in their lives every single day. Yeah. It's impossible.
And also somebody that's driven by their passion.
Correct.
Because, for example, because you love what you do, no te cuesta. It's just... You're going to do it. Like if you said, hey, I got to work 10 hours nonstop, you don't even think about it. Where somebody else in the rat race might be like, oh.
I mean, a testament to that is that it took me 13 months and 18 days to see my first dime in real estate.
Yeah. From your first sale?
My first check in real estate took me 13 months and 18 days of seeing zero. And when I got that check, I'll never forget it. Imagine working an entire year and getting a check for $1,500.
No,
the average individual would have collapsed under their knees and said, this is not for them. But I am of the school of thought that perseverance, persistence, and the willingness to remain in a positive frame of mind, right? Like when your mind and your heart is aligned with God's favor, there is no way that you can fail.
Yeah.
And that is truly the message that I put out on social media. Do I dress it with other things? Absolutely, yeah. Right? I dress it with other things. You have to. But that is the primary message, is that it doesn't matter where you come from. Yeah. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter anything. All of these societal constructs, okay, to keep people thinking in a specific way and putting them into a box, they don't matter. The only thing that matters is aligning your heart with your mind, bringing it to God, and having God's favor. If you have that, you have everything.
So, with that mindset, how much did religion play a part in how you formed your identity? Because, for example, first podcast that I pray before doing it. Before starting a podcast, nobody's ever done that.
Yeah.
And people who are very outwardly religious, but you really walk in that walk, man.
Yeah, brother. I mean, like, most people see me on the internet and they probably think to themselves, "Yo, is this guy like this, like in real life?"
The answer is yes.
And the answer, well, I'll let you speak to that, but he'll tell you, like, every single podcast that we start, it doesn't matter who we're doing the podcast with, we will say a prayer before.
Yeah.
We did it with Mayor Bo.
Yeah.
We did it with Robert Dominguez. We do it with every single body. And I think I didn't think you were gonna bring that up, but since you brought it up, I think that it's important, man. I think that it's important to answer your question about, you know, how big of a role did religion play into it. Brother, I struggle a little bit with people trying to put me into a box. You cannot. I do not match any mold. You can't put me into a box. I don't like the labels. I don't ascribe to it, right? Yeah. So I don't necessarily say religion, and I'll explain the difference between religion and spirituality. For me personally, the difference between religion and spirituality is that religion is somebody else's experience with God.
Or like the institution.
It could also be the institution, but that is the main definition. Religion is somebody else's experience with God. Spirituality is your own experience with God.
Yeah.
And while religion serves as a moral compass and the experience of other people, because that has value, right?
Yeah, of course.
The smart individual learns from the experience of others. I am also more interested in my own relationship with Christ. I'm interested in my own relationship with the creator of the universe. I'm more interested in what he has planned for me and the purpose that he's established for me in my life and in my heart, and fulfilling that purpose more than I am anything else.
When was your first conversation with God?
My first conversation with God. So I grew up in a Catholic school, like very, very young. Right? So I was taught El Padre Nuestro, Dios te salve Maria, praying before every meal, like the whole thing, right? I couldn't say that I was a devout religious person. Especially so young, right? I think that it goes back to a lot of life's tribulations, and you need to experience more of life as a man in order to develop yourself. And a lot of that comes through having conversations with God. But I would say that I really started to seek the help around the age of 24, 25.
After you've been through some things.
After you've been through some things, and life will humble you, man.
Definitely.
Life will humble you, and it'll put you in a perspective where you have nowhere else to look other than God. And when you're in that position, although you seem beaten, battered, and bruised, it's actually a very powerful position because it's isolation through God. God puts you to the side and says, hey, this one is special. I'm going to take the time to mold this individual, right? I can't bring him to the world right now. Because if I bring him to the world, he's going to make a mockery out of himself. I have to put this one to the side, work on this one, show him that everything that he needs is already inside of him, and getting him to understand that he needs to sharpen those skills, traits, and abilities. And then when he's ready, I'm going to bring him to the world. Now when I'm ready, now when you're ready, now when he's ready, when God is ready, he brings you to the world. And that's what we're seeing now.
That almost reminds me of this saying that it sometimes takes another person to believe in you before you can believe in yourself. Is that kind of like the...
So nobody believed in me, my brother. Nobody. 13 months and 18 days into the business of real estate, making zero, everyone thought that I was crazy. But that's okay, because sometimes you got to be crazy to win.
100%.
You get what I'm saying?
No, sin duda, because at the end of the day, like, and that goes back to your passion, because you believed in yourself.
Correct. Had I not, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here.
Now, your motivation, how were you essentially tuning your motivation throughout that adversity. Because like you said, that's a really long time. Most people would not have, made it through a month, 2 months. They would have found another job. They would have found another hustle. They would have pivoted. So what conversation did you have with yourself that said, I'm going to stick through it? Is it because you have like this no quitter attitude? Because sometimes you just say, until I get it done, I'm not going to stop. But sometimes that could be bad for you too.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
So, brother, I think it has to do more than anything with the mindset. And understanding that inside of myself, I am destined for greatness.
No. You hit me a little bit in my childhood. You know why? Because my mom would always tell me, mijito, tú vas a ser grande. Tú vas a ser lo máximo. And I'm like, man, you told me that so many times that I believed it.
That's it.
That I deadass believed it. You know what I mean?
That's it. And it's a testament. It's a testament. Brother, I besides mindset, right? I preach a lot results, right? It's very easy for people to believe when you have the results.
Yeah, when the concept's already proven.
Correct. But if you can believe in yourself prior to the results, if you can forego the immediate satisfaction of acquiring the results, and you truly work on developing the necessary skills to go out into the world to impose yourself properly, you develop a bulletproof mindset. And it's how you do, one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah. Or how you practice. I come from a background of sports. Okay. So they're like, in practice, you have to practice like this is the game, so that when you're in game, this shit feels like practice.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I'm hearing you do it, and I'm just like, I wish that, and my friend told me that I have survivor's guilt. Like when you achieve certain things and you surround yourself with friends or your peers that you went to school, you obviously have love for your friends. But what happens when you outgrow your friends, or the circumstance that you're in life moves you to that other direction, or kind of how you said how God might isolate you to achieve your purpose or your goal? And then you're like, man, I want to bring you with me, but if I bring you with me, you might bring me down.
Yeah.
Or you're not, no quiero decir like we're not on the same level, because I feel like everybody can achieve or can be coached, but it's like, you don't want it as bad as I did. You didn't work as hard as I did.
Correct.
So do you ever feel like survivor's guilt?
No, never. Never, because I've understood that life is hard enough for yourself, and to try to drag somebody along is going to not just have them sink, but you're going to sink as well.
For sure.
So instead, what I do is I achieve massive success, and then I go back. And then if I want to, I have these conversations with these individuals and say, hey, look, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. But the truth is, brother, is that a majority of individuals, they have that victim mentality. And misery loves company. So they just want you to sit there and listen to their perspective of the world. And you're here showing them, yo, but this is how you do it.
It's the alternative.
But the truth is, you can sit here and tell them, but just because you sit there and tell them doesn't mean that they're actually going to do it.
And I have this friend, which I won't name because she watches this and we hang out all the time. And I can't want more for you than you want for yourself. Like
correct.
And it's all these, like beat up sayings like, oh, you can't take a horse to water. Like you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I'm like, pero mija, like we've been talking about you getting your license. Like you know what I mean? We're 28. Like you need to drive. So it's stuff like that. Like, but I think back to your earlier point about there's two emotions of love and fear. She's clearly operating out of fear. Porque muy confortable to stay in the same place.
So I'll tell you this. I don't know the relationship, but I will give you my opinion. That is a cancerous way of thinking. And if you don't cut cancer off, it will seep into the rest of your subconscious mind. Speaking in reference to the way of thinking. Yeah. Unfortunately, that is the truth.
How can people unlearn that way of thinking? Because I would attest it to her mother, who grew her up to be complacent.
Yes, but the thing is that once you're an adult,
but
when you're a child, that's okay. But when you're an adult and you know better, you have to do better.
Yeah.
If not, you become a victim of your circumstance.
Yeah. or a victim of your trauma.
Brother, there's people that grow up with super messed up parents and grow up to be just like those parents. And then there's people that grow up with the same messed up parents and say, yo, because my parents were like that, I'm not gonna be like that. You get me? So it's you're born with it. It's nature and nurture. It's a combination of both. And nobody can sit here and tell you exactly, mathematically, quantitatively, how it works. Agreed. But you're either born with it or you're not.
And you have to choose your hard.
Yeah.
Like toda la vida, it's going to be a struggle, whether it's struggle up or struggle down.
That's it.
So you have to pick.
Bro, being broke is hard.
As hell.
And making money is hard. Yeah. Which do you rather? What hard do you want?
You're saying this, and I literally remember a conversation I had with my mom, and I'm like, Mami, yo me recuerdo when my biggest issue was what pair of shoes. You know how in high school everybody was into the Jordan.
Yeah, of course.
Claro. We traded the Jordans for the loafers and
That's it.
Pero that was the hardest decision that I had to make, right? Mm-hmm. Which pair of Jordans am I going to wear today?
That's it. And how am I going to style it?
Right. Am I going to crease the little, you feel me? But now I'm like, do I hire this person? Do I pursue this contract? If I spend X amount of hours doing this, what if about, you know what I'm saying? Like, the decisions change. And I guess the point I'm trying to make with this is like, we all have to choose a hard.
Of course.
And
brother, it's our responsibility as men, right? If you make the easy decisions, you're gonna have a hard life. If you make the hard decisions, you're gonna have an easy life. Okay. The biggest determining factor between a man and a boy is discipline. It's not how you feel. How you feel is irrelevant. You need to perform regardless. Yeah. Regardless of how you feel. That is the biggest marker and the biggest determining factor between somebody that will make it and somebody that will not make it. Because if you only perform when you feel great, then you're gonna get smoked out by somebody like me that performs regardless of how I feel.
Pero you feel sad. You feel hurt. You like I can only imagine that you've had relationships that you valued and you got backstabbed. Y eso te duele.
Of course, but it doesn't matter. The show goes on.
I know the wheels on the bus go round and round.
That's it.
Pero my point to that is, how do you deal with those with that negative emotion? Because at the end of the day, it hurts. And I know you're not gonna make an excuse about, oh, I got screwed over.
This is
but how at the end of the day, men have feelings, and my point to you is like, what is a proper way to cope with
this is what I would say. Number one, recognizing the fact that it's a negative emotion. Right? Because if you don't catch it, then it'll gain momentum. And if it gains momentum, it'll gain momentum in a negative way. So number one, establish the emotion. Say, okay, I'm feeling like this for this specific reason, okay? Detach yourself from the negative emotion. Almost as you take the witness stance and you're looking at the negative emotion. Right. So now the negative emotion is not inside of you, right? You detach yourself from it, okay? Allow yourself to feel what it is that you need to feel, okay? And then you say to yourself, next.
Yeah. My thing is like, and I guess this kind of goes back to like my survivor's guilt kind of vibe, where it's like, I've had people who, I'm your best friend, yo estoy a tu lado, this, that, and the third. And when the things are good, oh my God, it's great. It's the best. You know, we go out here, business move here, fantastic. Pero cuando la cosa se pone dura, y ellos te dejan, it's like...
Brother, pero look, that is inevitably going to happen, right? It's like I said, it's very easy to be positive when everything is great. It's very easy to be positive when everything is going fantastic. But the people that stand next to you when things are bad, those are your people. Now, if people, right? You have people in your life, everything's going great. Things go bad. Those people check out.
Right.
And then things go good again. And then those people come back in.
That is my fault.
Then it's your fault. If you allow them back in, right? If you allow them back in, that is your fault. Why? Because everybody that wants your energy doesn't deserve your energy. Everybody that wants a piece of you doesn't deserve a piece of you.
Yeah.
Everybody that wants your time doesn't necessarily deserve your time. And it goes back to having the discernment and understanding the people that are deserving of that time, the people that are deserving of that energy, the people that are deserving of your resources, time, energy, whatever the case may be. You're young though, 28 years old. Life will show you, brother.
How old are you?
31.
Okay. We're like right there.
Almost.
We're like right there. We're like right there. Man, I agree with you on a lot of things. I think much like politics, you and I have the same belief system, but how we arrive to the conclusion might be a little different.
Okay.
For example, Republican and Democrat. Republican says less government. Democrat says more government, but both want to be governed. You know what I mean? Like, or most people want to be safe. Well, not most. I would say everybody wants to be safe, protected, their kids, no school shootings, things like that. One says we need more guns. Another says no guns. So I'm hearing you and I'm like, I'm seeing that, but I feel like I've had moments where I swear to God, like, especially when it came to like the friend part, I was like, I want to feel that. And then I didn't. And I feel like I should have, like, because you were cancerous. And it took me taking you back into my life to realize, tú me entiendes, you just basically described the song and dance of, you showed me your colors. I was probably willfully ignorant. Like, I knew what you were on, and I decided to take you back. Because, I don't know, like, I felt bad. I liked you.
A snake is a snake. It just sheds its skin.
Let that breathe. No. And I'm just, and like, as you're talking, I'm like reflecting, and I'm like, fui tremendo como mierda.
But it's part of the game. What that does is it gives you the necessary experience to be able to handle future situations, because it's not the last time it's going to happen.
No, but it's about recognizing.
Of course, you recognize a pattern. You recognize a pattern, and then it's like playing chess.
Yeah, you play chess?
I do.
Like a lot, or like?
No, not a lot. But I play enough to
know how
I play enough to win.
Hell yeah. Man, we've been talking a lot about mindset. There's one other thing that I kind of wanted to ask you, which was the balance, right? You're a man's man. You like to take charge. You set your goals and you want to achieve them. That's your ambition, right? So, but you're also a man of faith. You believe in yourself. You believe in God. So you have a great deal of gratitude. So what's the balance between ambition and gratitude? And is there one that's better? Do you need both? Kind of like a yin and yang almost situation. You know what I mean? And can you have one without the other?
So what I would say, what I would say to that is this is how I do it personally. Being extremely grateful.
Wait, sorry. You want to use the bathroom? I'm sorry.
I'll good.
Yeah.
Being extremely grateful for where you're at.
Yeah.
But not being satisfied because you know you have so much more to go.
Right. Pero, okay. So I love talking about this topic. Hubris.
Okay.
You read Oedipus Rex, or you know what hubris is?
No, I haven't read that. What is that?
No worries. I don't get it. I feel like I'm the only guy in high school that read Oedipus Rex. Okay, so it's this Greek story of the guy. You probably know him. Maybe you don't know the name. The guy who basically on the road kills his dad because he's all like full of pride, like, oh, and then he ends up marrying his mom. And then when he figures out that he takes his eyes out.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the story of hubris, right? Like sinful pride. Like,
okay.
Cuando tú te crees el bárbaro, el papichulo, el logo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's your own downfall.
Correct.
And I do a lot of reflecting, because I tell people, I'm like, listen, I'm the chosen one. I'm the guy. But I'm not gonna like say that out loud. I'll tell that to myself privately. But I very much feel that way, and I know you feel that way. So it's, how do you control that ego? Como esa, it's like I describe it kind of like this warm sensation that just starts firing up. You know when you get like turned, like excited, like me voy a comer el mundo.
Okay.
And that kind of goes into your head.
Okay.
And then tú te empiezas a creer, or how my mom would say, te crees el mojón.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So kind of going back to my question of ambition and gratitude.
It's about knowing who you're serving.
There we go.
Very simple.
Because you serve yourself.
I can sit here and talk my talk, But prior to sitting here and talking my talk, what was the first thing that we did? We prayed.
We prayed.
And I gave God all the glory.
Prayed. Yeah.
So you if you do it out of pride and you say, oh, me, then God is gonna show you, okay, show me you. But if you say, no, it's me and God, then it's different, brother. Then you can go to the ends of the world. You can go to the ends of the world because in saying it's me and God, you also do your best to follow God's command. You also do your best to fulfill God's purpose in your life.
That's why I feel like as I've grown up, I become more a person of faith. Because when you don't have religion or you don't have a belief, you're at the center of the universe. And I feel like all your actions are so materialistic. Yeah, and you're never be satisfied. And that's, I guess, kind of where the ambition crece. To where, okay, I hit a play. I need another play. I'm not as good as this last play. Okay, you know what I mean? Like all these things to where, but when you have faith, it's like it's not that you're working towards something because we're all working towards something, but it's something that reminds you of your why. Your, like, as you said, to serve. I would call it like your why, the purpose of your behavior. Like, you don't wake up at 5 a.m. to go gym because es bonito.
Yeah, of course.
Y a veces tú no quieres hacerlo.
Of course.
Pero you do it because you know you have to stay fit, you have to stay healthy, and that in turn will help you with your goals.
I always say that God's timing is perfect. Not a second early, not a second late, rather right on time every single time without exception.
Sometimes it's hard to believe that.
No, you can't. You can't because then you're doubting the Creator.
No, for sure. But I mean, like, that goes back to the whole, like, why me, woe is me, victimhood mentality.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to, like, be the victim now as you're talking to me, you know? Like, oh, pero tú sabes, you know,
no.
You know what I mean? Like,
I can't, bro. I can't. I don't even allow my mind to get into that perspective because, like I said, it's a cancerous way of thinking and I want nothing to do with it, nor the people around me want anything to do with it because in my team, if you're not an asset, you're a liability. And if you're a liability, you're not a part of the team. And
you're probably in the rat race because we ain't cash flowing this life.
That's it.
And we're not cash flowing. So,
brother, he will tell you the people that I have around me have that same mentality.
Yeah.
Monsters, savages, because you have to be, bro. Life for a man is hard. Life for a man is hard, and if you don't have strong men around you to consistently hold you accountable and sharpen the sword of your life, because iron sharpens iron, you're not gonna make it.
And weak men create bad times. And
of course, the saying is, weak men create hard times create strong men create good times create weak men.
And it's this vicious cycle.
Correct.
And where are we now in society?
So I think that we are in the time of good men
creating a weak society.
And that weak society of the last 4 years, okay, where kids were doing things that they shouldn't have to experience, okay? That has created strong men to now in the future create good times.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, bro.
No, what a time to be alive.
Yeah, what a time to be alive.
But I'm so pro man. Like it's funny because I have these conversations with so many people and I tell them like, dude, being a man is tough. And I'm not here trying to,
but I wouldn't change it for the world.
No. Because at the end of the day, like, it's all my fault. Both in a good way and a bad way. Like, yeah, when I mess up, I got to take accountability. But the setup is the way it is because it's my fault.
Correct.
And I grinded and I worked hard to create that setup for...
I call it relentless accountability.
Yeah.
Where everything is your fault. Everything. The success, the failure, the good, the bad, the phenomenal, the fantastic, everything. Everything is my fault.
To compare the genders, I think something that men do very good is that when you, like, men very quickly will assert if I like you or not with another man. Whereas women, they won't like each other, but they'll shed their skin.
Yeah, around a little bit more.
Yeah, like, oh, I don't like her, so I'm going to pretend to be your friend. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when men have issues, we'll settle it right now, shake each other's hands.
We'll be direct.
Yeah, listo. And then contrary, women have to go around in circles to talk about their problems, or maybe it's indirect, or
I think a lot of that has to do with genetics, right? And if you think about kids, right, like a group of boys, right, a group of boys that are playing, using their imagination, whatever the case may be. You have cops, robbers.
Oh,
you have Indians, cowboys.
Manhunt.
Oh,
best game ever.
Girls is different.
Yeah.
Girls.
It's competition. Yeah,
competition versus collaboration. Participation. With girls, no. It's dollhouse, Barbie, whatever, a tea set, whatever. Yeah. It's not really combative.
And there's no determined winner. Like men
correct,
are very
correct.
You have this role. You have to be. Yeah, I'm the captain. I play this position. Of course. You gain a point, or there's correct.
There's a clear winner and loser. For girls' games, there isn't.
It's more like relationship.
Correct.
That is so true.
Correct.
But going back to this man positivity, men gotta support men, bro. Men gotta support men, and we have to be okay to tell your boy, dude, I'm not good. I'm not good. I recently went through something, and I hit up one of my best friends, and come over right now. And we just talked, and sometimes all a man needs is your boy to just sit there in silence, and just to know that your presence is there. I got you.
And that's why I said that for the most part, if you want to be successful, you're going to need a group of strong men. Because the world is tough, and nobody cares. As a man, nobody cares about how you feel.
No.
They don't care about the problems that you have.
No.
They don't care about nothing, because you are a man. Therefore, you must be able to solve it. It's very sink or swim.
Yeah.
Right? Like when a couple gets divorced, everybody goes to check on the woman. What's going on? Can we help? Nobody checks on the man. So yes, we have to be more hyper aware, right? And be more masculine positive. But bro, at the end of the day, the same way that you're a man, I'm a man, you're handling your problems, I'm handling my problems. What I don't want is to sit there and listen to your problems, understanding that I have problems of my own. Brother, we got to get back on the horse and keep going. We got to get back on the horse and keep going. Pa'lante. What are we going to do? You want me to sit here and weep with you? We're not going to do that. No. On the contrary, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to hear, when you need to hear it, because I'm that type of friend. I'm that friend.
Yeah.
I'm the friend that doesn't tell you what you want to hear. I am the friend that tells you what you need to hear, exactly when you need to hear it, and how you need to hear it to slap you out of your current mindset, put you back on the horse, because I need you. We gotta run together. We're running together. If you and I are in battle, and boom, 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 and you, no, people, hey, wake up. We,
Yeah.
That's life, bro.
Man, that was a great clip right there. No, bro, I feel that, and I think growing up, you learn a lot about yourself, and. No sé qué más, me dejaste frío. I'm like, damn, dog. Because what I love about podcasting is when I have a guest, I take everything they say and I literally try and put it in context of my experience. And I feel like I could have used you last week, bro. I could have used you last week, bro. Where were you, dog?
Now you know. I'm here. I'm around. Yeah. I'm around.
Oh, yeah. I want to switch some gears to talk a little bit about Hialeah. To talk a little bit about how you came up with this, it's not, okay, to say it's an alter ego is totally a lie, because this is who you are, you know what I mean? But the branding of King of Hialeah, it's working. Yo me lo creí. Before I met you at the homeless event, I've been seeing your TikToks, and I've seen you on pop up on my feed. So what gave you that idea? Do you do it more for work? Do you do it because you just like creating content? Like what is your why?
Brother, so I am the King of Hialeah because nobody has put Hialeah on the map on social media the way that I have.
Yeah.
Nobody claims the city of Hialeah the way that I do. I was born and raised in the city of Hialeah. And I am the man that I am today because Hialeah offered the opportunity for me to create something out of myself.
Oh, yeah.
So I will rep Hialeah until the day that I die. The reason, okay, that most people have that shame of claiming they are from Hialeah is from a negative mindset and a negative stigmatism, okay, and a negative perspective of life, right? Because por la vista entra, right? It's a negative perspective, and they're naive because Hialeah is the cornerstone of Miami-Dade County and a city that has offered endless opportunity for Cuban immigrants to make something out of themselves, in which in turn they wouldn't have Hialeah not existed.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. When I interviewed Jesus Tundador, he's a councilman now in the city of Hialeah, which, by the way, when you run for office, I better get a phone call. Okay? I'm just saying right now, like, yo, porque you King of Hialeah gotta be the mayor, you feel me? Pero, so when I talk with Tundi, he shares that sentiment that all of these stigmas, like, you know, when you're growing up, oh, parcero this, oh, like, it's just warehouses, factoría, da, da, da. No, dude, like, the amount of development that has happened, the workforce housing, he talks a lot about the workforce housing, and Hialeah, la ciudad que progresa for real.
They used to say, Hialeah, agua, fango y factoría. I say no. Hialeah, la mejor ciudad del mundo desarrollando economía. Why?
Damn, that's a bar.
Because if you think about it, okay, Hialeah is the only place in the world where you can get anything at any time at a discounted rate. And I'm all about deals.
And that's
Now, I will also say the following. Right? Being an investor, right? We invest all throughout Miami-Dade County. The highest ROI that we get is in the city of Hialeah.
Do you think it's because of do you think that's a cultural reason, or do you think it's like purely like geographic? Because, you know, I know in real estate it's the location.
Yes.
And Hialeah is located in a tremendo área, right? Like, you have the highways, like, just geographically speaking, like, it's positioned very well. So
it's the location, it's the culture, it's the aura, it's the people, it's the heritage, it's the history. It's like a cake, okay? You can't make a cake without all of the ingredients. And Hialeah has all of the ingredients. So when you run for office, right?
Yeah.
If it's God's will, I will do for Hialeah what's never been done before. And that is a fact.
Are you gonna tell me, or are we gonna see? Are you gonna do the Chopas like, when I'm in, you'll find out? I was like, oh shit.
I love the city of Hialeah. I will claim Hialeah until the day that I die. Yeah. It has a special place in my heart. I've traveled all throughout the world. Whenever people ask me where I am from, I don't tell them Miami. I don't tell them Florida. I tell them I am from Hialeah. And I do it with the hand gesture. No, yo soy de Hialeah. Yo soy de Hialeah.
What you said about at any time is so true, dude. You go to anywhere in the United States and everything closes at 8, at 9, and I'm like,
where's the fun in that?
¿Dónde voy a sacar el pan con bistec?
Eso no pasa en Hialeah.
Nah. But in terms of like its development, because obviously you've seen it go from, like, there's more apartments. It's getting more modern. But I remember the point I was gonna make. That I believe that Hialeah is one of the very few cities left in America where a person, an immigrant, can experience rapid social mobility. Un día, tú estás viviendo en el trailer. Porque tú eres recién llegado, tú acabas de llegar. Estás en el trailer. You bust your ass, and then you get your studio. And then down the block, you go into your 1-1. Te encontraste la jevita, you got married, and now you're on the block. Like, and this all happened in 5 years.
And
you see what I'm talking about, the social mobility aspect of it?
The social mobility aspect of the city of Hialeah, to your point, is like nothing ever.
It's like no other.
It's like no city in the world, because the level of entry is at a point where the American dream is still accessible to Cuban immigrants. And that in and of itself must be protected.
Oh, yeah.
That must be protected because that's where I stem from. So I need to ensure that into the future, okay, that is still something that is available to future generations. That's what it's about.
And that American dream has definitely, with what we've seen, changed. And a lot of people, especially our generation, don't feel like it's accessible anymore. You know that these home prices have skyrocketed, and it's not like the wages have matched, right? So it seems now home ownership is farther away. You're going to be renting for the rest of your life. So that American dream of, oh, I'm going to settle down, white picket fence, barbecue on Sunday, is fading. And what you're telling me is it hasn't left the city of Hialeah. It might have left somewhere else.
It could have faded in the entire country. It could have faded in the entire country. Okay? But it has not faded in the city of Hialeah. And that is something that I am extremely proud of, and something that in the future I will do my absolute best to protect.
100%. Where do you see Hialeah's development? Do you think it's going to keep being this? I mean, I feel like it's hard to take the Cubans out of places once we're there. Like, we're So where do you see Hialeah? What's its trajectory?
So humbly, I think that the trajectory of the city is one of expansion. The city's working on the infrastructure. They're working on the sewer system. There are plans to, continue to go vertical. Something that I'm very excited about for the city of Hialeah. I don't know if this is in the plans or if this is in any discussion whatsoever, because although we have friends, if you're in the center of Miami, right, in the heart of Miami, right. If you look east, you have Miami Beach. Miami Beach is Miami Beach.
No,
there's water.
Yeah.
There's water.
Tourism. That's just tourism.
If you go west, we don't have the elevation that Miami has.
No.
So as an investor, that gives me the perspective of exponential growth. There aren't any buildings that are higher than 3 stories, with the exception of Metro Park 1, Metro Park 2, Metro Park 3, Metro Park 4. Huge shout out to those guys. Those guys are crushing it.
Okay.
First high density building in all of Hialeah.
Right, so it's just simply more units. It went from 15 units to now 80,
you know what I think that Hialeah could definitely benefit from? Miami has Brickell City Center. Mm-hmm. Miami Gardens has the Hard Rock. Hialeah needs an attention grabber of some sorts.
Like not necessarily like a stadium, not necessarily like a mall, but I see what you mean, like some kind of thing that is iconic, that when you say Hialeah, it's like está esto ahí.
Yes, because we have the park. We have Hialeah Park, which is a historical park. Beautiful park. One of the most beautiful parks in the entire world. But Hialeah needs that one thing that is a landmark to bring in people, to bring in more eyes, to bring in more opportunity, to generate more revenue.
Yeah, I know for sure. I get what you're saying. When you hear Brickell, you immediately now think city center.
Correct.
Because it's so iconic. It literally is like the New York feeling. Like you stand right there and you're like, oh my God, this is Brickell.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And even now Doral, it's starting to emerge with the city place, because that's relatively new. Mm-hmm. But I get what you're saying, that you need to, or how Gables has the mile. You know what I mean? When you think of a place, you're like, okay, it's this. And when you think of Hialeah, you really don't have you think of some other things, correct, which unfortunately had that negative stigma carried to it.
Correct.
And I get what you're saying,
that's what Hialeah needs. Mm-hmm. And when someone comes in that is able to provide that, it's game over.
All right, guys, he just revealed it. That's his policy as the mayor right there. He just gave it away. No, yeah, man. But wait, I got some tea to talk to you, bro. So, okay. Everything's shifting. The mayor steps down. There's already an election happening. So, I would say that Hialeah politics is very cohesive. When you compare the city of Hialeah to Coral Gables, the city of Miami. And again, one of those gentlemen is my client, and everybody else is very friendly. So they get along amicably. Whereas in city of Miami, se odian. City of Coral Gables, it's beef. City of South Miami, everybody is kind of like, oh, I'll just listen to the mayor. So what would you want reflected in politics, and what would you tell voters in Hialeah? I'm not, I know obviously, we got our ties and stuff, so we're not gonna be like, yo, vote for Fulanito. But just what is the energy in which Hialeah residents should approach their government?
To that point, right? I think that is a beautiful thing, that the city can move in unison, that there is a synergistic approach to the things that get passed and don't get passed, because that means that everybody's on the same team. So to the residents of the city of Hialeah, I would say that the local government genuinely has the best interest at heart for their people. To the point of Bovo stepping down, I don't know if it's for sure or not. I will not, make any assumptions, right? Out of respect to him, because he is a gentleman.
No, tremendo.
I've had a sit down with him, and I can tell you beyond the shadow of a doubt that he's a gentleman. He's very well prepared, and apart from that, he's also done a phenomenal job for the city of Hialeah. But what I will say is that the future looks bright.
I would say that because I see it from like the campaigns and how they talk to voters. I think they have their, and this is the problem with just Miami. It's like you go to another part of the United States and it's not as cliquey. Like everything in Miami is very cliquey, and to me, I feel like the Hialeah clique actually worked compared to like when you go to city of Miami.
It's the greatest city in the world.
No, because at the end of the day, like they disagree privately, whereas in city of Miami, Coral Gables, it's a very public, ugly disagreement. Yeah. So you might not know that Councilman A tiene tremendo peo con Councilman B, pero there's still decorum. There's still like, we're gonna get along.
Of course.
And
we're gonna do what's right for the residents and put our egos aside, because we are public servants, and that is our primary focus.
Yeah, man, that city of Miami pay to play. That's like a yo, you gotta drop 10 bands in the pack just to meet with me. Like just to even like breathe my air, you gotta tocarme bien. But man, Javi, how long have we been going? We've been going for a minute.
53 minutes.
Okay. Is there anything else that's on your mind?
Brother, I would say that to the local government in the city of Hialeah, the residents appreciate everything that you've done thus far. Everything that has happened has been in the positive trajectory of the future for the city of Hialeah. And it's something that people need to recognize, because that synergistic approach to government is what gets things done, and gets things done the right way.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. The only thing is that politics is so, the deals don't get done in public. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like eso and something that I learned from Tundi was there does exist a scenario where private and public goals can really be together. Like sometimes people feel like, oh, in order for an issue to win, something has to lose, right? Like people view politics as like a zero-sum game. Like,
okay, for
me to be the mayor, you have to lose, or vice versa, right? So people always take an approach of like this side or that side, and I'm a firm believer that there does exist. Sometimes it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes tenés tremendo compromiso, and sometimes you can't budge because of XYZ reasons. But I think for the most part, there does exist a reality where you can have aspects of what you want the most, and so can I. But I think it's not the fight, but
the clashing of the ideas.
Yeah, and that's where the egos come into play. No, porque yo soy, y tú eres. Oh my God, that's usually where the breakdowns happen.
So I would say the following, right? That has to do a lot when people are politicians. I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman. Donald Trump is not a politician. Donald Trump is a businessman. So you can walk on eggshells and not get things done, or you can come from a place of service, be direct and assertive, and make it the greatest country in the world. Oh, yeah. It just depends. It depends on your character. It depends on your demeanor. It depends on your mindset. It depends on a lot of things. But one thing that I want to make extremely clear is that I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman. I am not somebody that is going to say exactly what you want to hear. I am going to be the person that acts on what needs to act in order to have positive change into the future. Two very different things.
And you'll let them know where you got your beliefs from. Because I also think that transparency is a little lacking, right? Like politicians will tell you, hey, we're going to do this, but there's not like why are we doing this? Yeah. And that could both be moral, right? Like, I feel, for example, when they get questioned about abortion or they get questioned about the environment, and they give like this like kind of like rudimentary, like super like middle.
A politician answer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think that there is this trend, and that's why I think you'll be very successful in it, whereas that people don't want the suit. People want the person. They want the personality. And I think that's a big reason why Trump performed so well, because how did the billionaire become the face of the working class? Porque cojones la está sufriendo como yo. You know what I mean? Because I felt that connection.
Brother, because he's real. If you ask me a question, I'm not going to give you a politician answer. Yeah. I'm going to give you the answer of my reality. Yeah. That's why now you have all of these individuals that are planning on running. Trump obviously got into office. Andrew Tate is going to run.
Oh my God.
Conor McGregor is going to run. It's one of those things where there's a consciousness shift where people don't want to have the wraps put over their eyes. They want the raw truth.
That's bad times making strong men. That's the going back to the.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I'm the strong man that's going to help influence positive change.
Sí, claro, pero then we're gonna go back to shitty times.
No. But I rather go through the good times than not.
Right? He's like, no, I'm gonna be at the good part of the cycle. I'm gonna be at the good part of the cycle. Oh, hey, Mark, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, absolutely.
Woo!